Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Afra and I came to US around 9 months ago, around August of 2024 with a K-1 visa. Now I have a green card and I have a driver's license, which is a big deal for me. And I wanted to talk about how to file for a K-1 visa, okay? So why am I doing this? I am not a lawyer, okay? I don't have a legal background other than I worked as a customs enforcement officer and I was dealing with a lot of law-related stuff, basically filing paperwork and everything. So, and also I worked at the American Embassy in Turkey. So I have some information and some knowledge, you can say that. My husband has a law degree. So he filed all of our documents and I talked with him and I did our paperwork in Turkey, so you need to do a DS-160 and other stuff, and I did all of that and I put together a file packaging for the visa appointment in Turkey. Some of my followers requested that I make a video about this because I know this is a lot. Okay, filing for any type of visa is a lot, and when you're trying to bring someone outside of US to US is a lot of paperwork. It is not difficult in my personal opinion, okay? I am not, again, I want to say like, I'm not giving legal advice, okay? Don't come for me. If you do anything wrong, this is all your decision if you want to do it, okay? But I wanted to do this. I'm not making any money from this, you guys. Like you can go and see, like I don't even have enough followers to make money from YouTube even, right? I just want to help people. Okay, and what drives me to do this, if you ask me, is hearing and seeing people getting scammed by some, I don't want to call them lawyers because most of them are not lawyers in my opinion, especially when you first start this whole thing, they get scammed in Turkey, sometimes in US. And I know one couple actually, specifically, the American petitioner was working with a lawyer or law office. I'm not really sure, we're not that close, but she paid around $2,000 and filing fee is $675, you guys, right here. Okay, I have notes, okay? Filing fee right now at 2025 is $675. She paid more than $2,000. They didn't even file her documents. What kind of crap is that, okay? That pisses me off. I'm a type of person, like I hate that kind of stuff. Okay, I don't want to see it. I don't want people to go through with it. If you want to work with a lawyer, make sure that they're handling your case right and they're not scamming you. There are some people, they're not lawyers. They're working with lawyers. I get that, but they're charging a lot of money, okay? And they're not delivering any results. That is pissing me off. So I wanted to make this video. You might want to watch this video and file with a lawyer, which is fine. But it's not that difficult. It is not difficult, you guys. I believe in us, okay? We can do this. We can do it, okay? So, first of all, if you're watching this video, congratulations. That means that you have someone that you love from another country, probably Turkey, because most of my followers are from Turkey. So, and you want to bring them to US and marry them in 90 days, like 90 Day Fiance and TLC. But real world is not like that. It is very difficult sometimes, okay? So we wanna go through all of this. I have like 6 pages, okay? This is gonna be a long video. I will probably put it in 2 parts, okay? Brace yourselves. It starts, okay, this whole information, the 6 pages is from the USCIS website, okay? You can go and verify all of this information also. This is not some information, like some secret information the government is keeping from us or anything like that. This is all from the USCIS website. This is all accessible for everybody. Sometimes it's kind of difficult because there's like different tabs you need to go and then you click on something and it takes you to someplace else. So it's kind of all over the place. So I filed this thing and I want to go through it one by one. And I also made a small video. I also make like a small video about how to file the form 129F. I-129F, okay? So congratulations, first of all. So to be able to file for a K-1 fiance visa, okay, there's also spousal visa. It's kind of the same thing. You just click on different boxes in the same form, okay? That's like a K2 visa, I think, if I remember correctly. So for a K-1 visa, for a fiance visa, you have to be a citizen and you have to be intending to get married within 90 days when your fiance enters the country, okay? You have to get married and file and file. I want to underline it. You might look online and you might find things and people, even lawyers, telling you, technically you don't have to. Yes, it works like this. You need to enter, beneficiary enters the US, right? Within 90 days, you have to get married and start the procedure. Because of why? When you enter, they will put, a date on the passport of the beneficiary and it will say a date. So your K-1 visa is valid until that date. After that date, you don't have a valid visa to be in the US, okay? And this is 2025. You know what's going on with all the ICE raids and everything, right? You don't want your beneficiary, the person you love, to go through that, go through deportation, go through maybe detainment, okay? That's why they come and you marry them really quickly, as soon as possible. And then because the paperwork will take some time, right? The marriage certificate for us, it took like 20 days almost. Then you get the marriage certificate, start the procedure immediately, guys, okay? Please do that. Technically, you don't have to, but you don't want to be in a gray zone right now with everything going on, okay? Moving on. You and your fiancé has to be legally available to marry, so you cannot be in another marriage. They cannot be in another marriage. Why do they say that? I don't know. There must be a reason. This is here. It says that this means you both are legally able to marry in the United States and any previous marriages have been legally terminated by divorce, death, or annulment. And you have to meet with your fiancé before you file within that 2 years. This is your filing date. Before that, within 2 years, you have to meet at least once, okay? Unless you can tell like, oh, by their culture, it's like unavailable for us. It's unacceptable for us to meet. Something, but that doesn't apply to Turkey. That doesn't happen in Turkey. Consulate people are not dumb. They know all of that, okay? They go through months of training to learn the culture of the country. They're not gonna believe you if you tell them, well, yeah, my fiance is Turkish, but it's okay that we didn't meet because like their culture, blah, blah, blah. Then nobody will believe you. Unless like you violate the strict and long established customs of your fiance's foreign culture or social practice, or result in extreme hardship to you, the US citizen petitioner. It could be anything. I don't know, maybe you had some disease going on and you couldn't do that, something like that. If that is the case, you have to prove it to USCIS in the package, okay, when you file. If you're eligible, probably you are. If you're like it said, you are an American citizen, you can legally marry, you're single, widow or whatever, you're single, you're not married right now, and you met with them within the last 2 years, right? Then you're eligible. If you're eligible, you will fill out form I-129F, petition for alien fiancé. Alien fiancé. Okay, where to file? How you file? You don't file online, okay? You have to file, you have to send the file to the USCIS post box. They have a post box. If you send it with the USPS, US Postal Services, there's an address. And if you use FedEx, UPS, or DHL, there's another address. Okay, it's another box basically. It's the same box technically, but like FedEx, UPS, and DHL, they want more of the address, I guess. I don't know why. One of them is in Dallas. The PO box number is the same. I don't know why. The other one is Lewisville. I cannot really pronounce it. Anyway, so these are the post box addresses. You file through them. You can pay that said fee, filing fee, like I said, $675, right? You will be paying it either with a, what is that? We don't use that. You can pay it with a credit card or with check. We did it by check. Because when you do it by check, you can actually look into your bank account, and then when they cash the check, you know that they got your package, right? Smart. So we did it that way. You don't have to. You can pay with a credit card, I think. You have to provide with the file certain things, obviously. You decide, okay, everything is okay, right? You wanted to file the thing, and then like I said, I made a video about how to file, how to fill out that form, 129F, right? So you need to provide certain things with that file. So you need to create a package, right? What will be in the package? So USCIS tells us, did you provide the following? Question mark. Evidence of your US citizenship. Okay, we're starting. That's number one. This could be one of these, a copy of your birth certificate issued by a civil register, vital status office, or other civil authority showing you were born in the United States. This is number one. Number two, a copy of your naturalization or citizenship certificate, issued by USCIS or the former Immigration and Naturalization Service. Third, a copy form of FS-240, Consular Report of Birth Abroad, issued by a U.S. Embassy or U.S. Consulate. Another one, a copy of your unexpired U.S. passport, which we used. My fiance used that, then fiance, now husband. Because he already had it, and the birth certificate you need to, he didn't have it, I think, or like his mom had it and they didn't know where it is. You know, that apparently happens a lot in the US. So he didn't want to go and get it, so he used his passport. Another way of providing evidence of your US citizenship. An original statement from a US consular officer verifying you are a US citizen with a valid passport. Okay, you don't have to file within the US, by the way. Let's say you were on a trip for a month, something, and then you want to file, you can do it this way. Like you go to a consulate and then get that, because when you're not in the country, obviously you cannot go and get your birth certificate, right? This is another step. Okay, you provided evidence of your citizenship. We're continuing. Evidence you or your fiance legally terminated any previous marriages. If you were married or if they were married, okay, this is kind of important because a lot of people are making mistakes when it comes to this part, right? And then USCIS requests extra documents, then you have to wait for that, and then you send it, and then they're like, oh yeah, we need to look it up again, and then you lost 4 months. Okay, we don't need that. So final divorce decree, annulment order, or death certificate for prior spouse. You will be providing these original copies, but not the copy of the certified copy. Okay, you need to provide a certified copy or the original when it comes to this one, okay? You can, like I said, you should look it up again. Don't believe what I say 100%. I did research, but just do your own research also. But you need to provide them with the originals. You cannot just, if you have the original, you can't just copy it and send it to them. You need to either get a certified copy and send the original certified copy or the original documents, okay? One color passport style photograph of yourself and one for your fiance taken within 30 days of you filing this petition, which is very simple. You go to CVS or whatever and then tell your fiance to go and take like a passport style picture. And then they know, every photographer in Turkey knows, so it takes like 30 minutes. And they can scan it and send it to you. Okay, what I did was I went to a photographer and then they took the picture and I requested them to send it to me on my WhatsApp, and then I sent it to my fiance at the time, now husband, you know? You can do it like that. They don't have to send it to you physically. You can just print it with a good printer. Again, you can use CVS, like I said, and then just give it that way. Evidence of legal name change, if applicable. So, you know, if you change your name in any time in your in your life, you know, which happens sometimes, you have to provide them with that because they ask you, what is your name? Do you have any previous names? What were those? And then you have to provide legal documentation about that, okay? I know they ask a lot of documents. We just started. Evidence to support an International Marriage Broker Regulation Act waiver. If you did that, a lot of people don't do that. I never heard people doing that. Maybe, I don't know, they're not saying that they're doing it this way. But if you did, again, within the form I-129F, there is a section for that also, and you have to fill that out and then get some documents from them, which actually is in the 129F. There's like a help document when you're filing it. USCIS has another document to help you file. So there's the documents are listed there, right? You have to go there and then provide the USCIS with all of that within the package. Again, Form G28, Notice of Entry of Appearance as Attorney or Accredited Representative, which is only if you are represented by an attorney or accredited representative. Then you have to submit this. But if you're doing this all by yourself, you obviously don't have to do that. If you are, you have to obviously fill that form also. If you are petitioning to classify your fiancé as a K-1 non-immigrant, did you provide the following, which we are doing right now, right? Evidence that you and your fiancé have a bona fide, I don't know how to pronounce that, intention to marry. Evidence that you and your fiancé intend to marry within 90 days of their admission into the United States as a K-1 non-immigrant. You can actually, for all of that, write like a letter of intent. You can actually go to Google and search it, and then you can write a letter of intent. So my fiancé wrote one when I was gonna go to my visa appointment. And it said stuff like, I promise that I will share my house, my bank information about my, all of my money, my credit cards, and I promise that I will provide her with a place to stay, with a place to sleep and stuff like that. Like I will provide her with everything and I will marry her, basically. You can look up examples of them and then just write something like that and then put it and sign it and put it in the package. Evidence that you met your fiancé in person within 2 years of you filing your form. If you haven't met in 2 years, submit evidence that meeting in person would violate strict and long-established customs of your fiancé's foreign culture or social practice or would be an extreme hardship on the petitioner. When people do that, they're like, oh my God, how am I gonna show them evidence that we met? Or like they're like, okay, I'm gonna put like 50,000 pictures. Okay, you don't need to do that. What you need is everyone travels, and when you travel, you pay for things like tickets, right? You print out those tickets or don't throw away the stubs. If you did, they send you emails, right? When you purchase a ticket, they will send you an email. You can print those out. That's what we did. Print those out, submit it. And what I did was I submitted them and I put the names and the dates of the times, like we went to Istanbul. We met in Istanbul in person, for example. So I put like, okay, yeah, we met at this date, and then he went back to US at this date, and then he came back during these times, and then he met with my family, picture. He met with my friend, picture. He met with my dad, picture. You don't have to submit like 50 pictures. Also, we went to Japan, so I submitted pictures from that, like 2 or 3 pictures. You don't have to like give them 50 pictures, okay? They don't want to look at that. They are only interested in facts at this point, okay? This is only the start, so they want to see the facts. If you're petitioning to classify your spouse, which is a K3, not a K2, non-immigrant, did you provide following? Again, like I said, this form you can submit for a fiancé or a spouse. Process for bringing your fiancé to the United States. Step 1, petition for fiancé. Okay, you will file the form. According to the form instructions, like I said, the form and the form instructions are on the same page, guys. Okay, you download both of them and then you read the form once and then you look at the instructions. I would do it that way. Like I said, there's a video. I will also upload that and you can see how to file that, okay? This form asks USCIS to recognize the relationship between you and your fiancé. Phase 2, we review your form and the documents you've submitted. We may mail you a request for evidence, which we don't want. Why, you might ask? Because when they request evidence, it means that they're gonna be taking 2, 3, 4 months, up to 4 months, because they will request it. In the mail, they will send it to you. You have to wait for the mail to come. You might miss it. Then you have to get it, prepare whatever they ask. You send it to them. It takes at least like a week for them to get the paperwork, right? Then they have to process it. Just because they got it, it's not gonna be like, oh my God, I was waiting for this document from the Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith. Oh my God, I have to like do it. No, they don't have enough personnel anyway. And now with everything that's going on, then they don't have enough people, okay? We don't wanna deal with that, obviously. So preparing the package is very important. We can do it. I believe in us, okay? 3, if you establish your eligibility, we approve your form and recognize the claimed fiancé relationship. Otherwise, we deny your form and notify you of reasons for denial. It's usually like you didn't submit something and then they send you request for evidence and you didn't see it, maybe something like that. Something drastic has to happen for them to deny your request, okay? Then they will send, if you're successful and they approve it, they send the form to the National Visa Center. Step 2, visa application. So the NVC forwards the approved form to the US Embassy or Consulate where your fiancé will apply for an non-immigrant visa, which I went through, and it was horrible because there was no visas, because in Turkey you have people coming from Iraq and Iran and Africa for some reason, I don't know why. And they are doing the same thing like K-1 visas in Turkish embassy. So it was impossible to find any time slots, basically. I was crying a lot back then, so it was not fun. The US Embassy or Consulate notifies you when the visa interview for your fiancé is scheduled. The NVC sends the paperwork to the embassy. You, as the petitioner, will receive an email, right? It will tell you that your document was sent to the embassy, and they will, within the email, they ask you what is the contact information of your fiance. So you will give them your fiance's email. Then she or he, they have to basically look out for an email from the embassy. When they get the email, they will go and schedule an interview. Embassy will not schedule an interview for your fiance. Okay, you'll be under a lot of stress. Okay, your fiance will be under a lot of stress with everything going on. And then you see this here, and then you might fight and argue about it. You don't fight. We love, okay? We don't fight. Your fiance applies for the K-1 non-immigrant visa and brings the required forms and documents to the visa interview. Okay, there's a bunch of documents they will request from your fiance. They will send an email. It was like this long, the list. Okay, there's a normal list they ask from every K-1 applicant, and there's another list they ask from every specific person. Let's say if I was married and divorced, then they will be like, okay, you need to bring this additional paperwork, right? Even if you filed it within the original package, they want to see it again. I'm telling it again. Okay, when it comes to bureaucracy and embassies or whatever, right, do not expect logic that much. Okay, they might want to see the same document 5 times. It's fine. You don't say anything, you don't argue with each other, okay? You just submit it. People from Turkey are very used to that because we grow up, we are dealing with bureaucracy and everything all the time. You have to, okay? But in US, since I'm here for like 9 months, I see that you don't even have to deal with anything. Let's say you don't have kids or whatever, you can just live your life. You don't even have to do much. Like you just file taxes, that's it. You don't deal with the government. It's not like that in Turkey. So Turkish people are kind of okay with it. But what I am seeing is a lot of Americans are pushing back. Like when they see a lot of stuff and then they're like, why do you have to do this? Why do I have to file this? Why are they asking this like 2nd time, 3rd time? I don't want to do that. Just do it. It's just paperwork and they're requesting it. Unfortunately, I wish they didn't. They just do, okay? Continuing. The consular officer determines whether your fiancé qualifies for K-1 non-immigrant visa. Little note here. 99.9% of people will get approved. Okay, you just have to file everything. If there is like, if you didn't submit some document, they will be like, okay, yeah, we get all of the documents you submitted, you need to give this also. And then they will send, they will give your fiancé a paper, and then they will send them basically, and then they will tell them, well, when you get that, you will send the paper with your passport, and then we will, approve it and then send it to you. So it's just getting the information and then creating that package is very stressful, and then you have to basically deal with finding a visa slot, which was very difficult for me. If the consular officer grants the K-1 non-immigrant visa, it is valid up to 6 months for a single entry. Again, this is not 100% accurate. What happens is this. Before your visa appointment, before your visa appointment, embassy sends beneficiary, your fiance, right, an email saying that you need to go and get a medical check. So you go and get a medical check. After the medical check, they create this file, and then on the file, it actually tells you how long that medical file is valid. Your visa is basically how much is that medical file. Let's say 5 months, the doctor said that you will get that visa, and then it will be valid until that medical package is valid. So it doesn't say up to 6 months, yes, but it's not what the consular officer says actually. Maximum is 6 months, but for me, it was 6 months, but I did my medical check like 2 weeks before that. So it was actually 5.5 months when I got my visa approved. So you can't just be like, oh, it said 6 months here, it has to be 6 months. It can be 1 month, it can be 2 months. You don't know, right? It's up to 6 months. If the consular officers do not find the relationship to be real, basically bona fide something, they will not issue a K-1 non-immigrant visa and instead will return the form to USCIS. Generally, if they return a form to US after it has expired, we will allow it to remain expired. However, you may choose to file a new form, which if this happens, I hope not. Basically, they say that it will be expired no matter what. You might file again if you want to. So you have to be careful. For additional information, there's there's a non-immigrant visa for fiancé page, so you can go and actually, read the stuff there and then everything. Inspection at the port of entry. So everything is fine. The fiancé got the visa and now they're coming to US, right? After they issue the K-1 non-immigrant visa, your fiancé travels to the United States and seeks admission at a port of entry while the K-1 non-immigrant visa is valid. Do not wait until it's the last day. Do not wait until it's like the last week, okay? Just come when there's still time. As with any visa, K-1 non-immigrant visa does not guarantee admission to the United States, obviously, unfortunately. A CBP officer at the port of entry will make the ultimate decision about whether to admit your fiance. Okay, I didn't have problems with that because I was with my fiance, right? He was at Turkey. We did like a celebration because I'm getting married. And then we came together. Also, I have 2 cats, so I needed help to bring both of them and all my stuff, basically. So we came together, and then when we were entering, there was 2 sections. I entered through LAX, right? And we asked an officer, I am a K-1 visa person, basically, and this is an American citizen. Like, which one should we pick? Because one of them said non-immigrant, tourist visas. Other one said US green card holders and US citizens. So I'm kind of in between. Are we gonna separate? So they were like, oh no, you can go with him, they said to me, right? So we went there, and then he passed first, and then I came. So I have my passport, which is also carries my K-1 visa, right? And I have my medical package, which they give you, and then they tell you, do not ever open this. USCIS officers will open this when you enter the country, because it includes all of the tests they did, like the blood test and then X-ray results for TB testing, and what else? Like they do a bunch of shots, so that also vaccine information is there also. So they open it right then and there, and then they send it to USCIS, right? So it's basically that, and then they ask me questions of like, so how long have you been in a relationship? Where are you guys coming from? Do you like, what is his name? They asked some questions, and because he was there also, like, you know, he also came, the officer actually wanted to see my fiance, and they're like, where is he? I want to see him. I'm like, he's right there with my other cat. Then he came, and then they basically, we kind of had like a chat. And obviously we were exhausted. It was like a 13-hour flight, but from where I lived to US, it took us 16 hours, and I had 2 cats. One of them was freaking out, and like both of them, like they needed to pee real bad. Anyway, it was kind of a hassle, but it was not a problem actually. It was kind of nice, and then they approved it. They stamp it with a special K-1 stamp, right? And then they put a date there. So when you enter, they give you 90 days basically to marry. And then the guy said that you have to marry before this date, otherwise you have to go back. And I was like, okay. I mean, we got married within 2 days. We came Saturday, Tuesday we got married, if I remember correctly, or Monday. I don't know. Anyway, we got married really quickly. Step 4, marriage. If your fiance is admitted as a Kenyan immigrant, non-immigrant, it says, you and your fiance have 90 days to marry each other, which is really cute. And then you get married, and then you have to file for step 5, adjustment of status. I will make a separate video. We did that. I mean, technically my husband did, and I was like, okay, cool. So he did it. I'm reaping the benefits, I guess you could say that. If you marry within 90 days, your fiance now your spouse, may apply for a green card by filing Form I-485, application to register permanent residence or adjust status. Technically, this is for adjusting the status and application to register as a green card holder of permanent residence, right? We review the form and the documents your spouse submitted. We may mail a request for evidence to your spouse if we need additional documentation or information. I mean, it says that I can apply, but he applied. I think for me, I mean, you're married, you're one body and soul and everything, it doesn't really matter. You and your spouse will usually be required to appear for an interview. Okay, this was not the case. Like, everybody knows that. It is the case now. We did go for an interview, and I saw at least like 5-6 couples there, and then before 3 of them went in, and they separated them. So they went in together, and then I think the American petitioner was sitting outside and the other person was in there. So we were like, oh my God, is that gonna happen to us? And it didn't, and I'm really grateful for that. Also, like, if your fiance doesn't have good English skills, that's a problem, because they ask a lot of questions, and he asked them to me. Like, he would ask questions, and then 2 times, like, my husband answered, and then 3rd time he was gonna answer, and then he just stopped himself, and he asked the officer, he's like, are you asking like to us or to her? And then he was like, to her mostly, like, if she answers this, okay. I'm like, and then I kept answering, and I answered all of the questions, right? So they should take some English classes. I'm telling also everyone that is following me and watching my videos, you need to learn English. I had to put this video into separate pieces because it was becoming too long, so I'm just leaving you with this really cute footage of my cat. This video is gonna be very long. Like I said, it was an hour, so I put it in two separate parts. So this is the first half, and there's gonna be the second half, and then there is gonna be the filing of the original document. So please come back for part 2, and please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.